All right, I should be able to deal with this without my computer. How are we doing?
We're doing great, Judge. There's no objections to any of the physical evidence, and the state has a lot of photographs. I believe the only objection on any of those is maybe reassessing an objection about the body, the pictures of Mr. Ferlazzo.
Right.
But I'm sort of hopeful we can just do all of that now, and then we can
Sure.
just present all the evidence as
Sure.
stipulated.
I mean,
Aside from those.
Ms. Jantz wants to bring that all up again in front of the jury one way or another. Let's get that done. Okay, so which exhibit numbers would you, is the 30s, the ones, or are there some before that that you want to address?
25 to 36. Yeah.
25 to 36.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't do the objection because it's your witness.
Do we need this right now, or can we move that at this point? Oh, you're going to use that for all these exhibits?
Yeah.
It's just, I'm sorry I can't see you, Ms. Johnson.
I can move it back. I just
Can
wanna make
you,
sure the
just
jury-
at least for now, while we're talking about this, and then we can move
Just to
it back?
clarify, Judge, do you want us to renew the grounds for the objection to exhibits 22 to 36?
Well, you can renew it for the reasons already stated, or if there's anything you wish to add to those reasons, you may bring that up now.
Renewing it for the reason. Go ahead.
Just renewing it, Judge.
All right.
Same objection.
Is there anything specific in my order? I did mention other things regarding specific tattoos that were reflected. Do you care if those come in? No? So the only exhibit I thought about, if I can get it back up. And I don't think, yeah, no, gotta find it. 32, maybe.
What number, Sally?
32, 33, and 34.
32,
No, 32 is not the one I'm thinking of.
32 is not the one.
Please. It was the, I think it's 31. The kind of close-up of the chest and stomach area. It seemed to me another picture got it from a little further back without it being quite so suggestive. And I wondered if we used that one.
Are you asking me, Your Honor?
Well, no, I finally got the picture up.
Which number is it, Judge?
It's 31. It's not, again, it's another picture which shows the whole body. It shows a touch more than the far off picture, which I think might have been 30. Let me see. But there was a,
I don't.
can I get the pictures for a second? I'm not getting them all on there. Is it 30 that is the whole? No, it was 29. I thought that captured it. Captured it okay, and I didn't, 31 seemed to be, was a close-up of 29. I really don't think any of them, though, are prejudicial in the sense of unfairly prejudicial that 403 speaks of. They're just pictures of his body.
And Judge, the reason I specifically also picked that one is because during the interview, he's pointing to that particular area and indicating that he might
Yeah, I
have an
saw
injury there. So that was a specific choice made so that the jury has a closer up view of that area.
I'm going to allow them then, for the reasons already indicated in my order.
No objection.
If Your Honor would note my objection, our original objection.
We have in mind your
Thank you.
original objection. My understanding, though, is there's nothing specific to any of the tattoos that are reflected on the picture that's problematic.
That's correct.
Other exhibits that you wanted to discuss?
No, nothing else, Judge.
So there's nothing else no other photographs?
No.
Would you approach for 1 minute? Ready for the jury?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, let's bring them in. Are there any stipulations coming in?
All right, do you want them now?
You don't have to. You can do it, whatever's easiest for you in conducting your examination. Please be seated. We're back in the record in State versus Joseph Ferlazzo, Jr., 21 CR 8967. The parties have had an opportunity to meet and discuss various exhibits, and I think we're ready to proceed. Ms. George.
Thank you, Judge. The state would call Amy Nolan.
Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly affirm that the evidence you shall give relative to the cause now under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, under the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The acoustics in this room are not good.
Okay.
So if you can keep your voice up so the jurors in the back can hear you, that would be appreciated. Can you just start by telling us your name and spelling your last name? Actually, in your case, can you spell your first name as well?
Certainly. It's Amy, spelled A-I-M-E-E. Last name Nolan, N-O-L-A-N.
Okay. And did you formally work for Vermont State Police?
I did.
Okay. And Are you now retired?
I am.
When did you retire?
October of 2023.
Okay.
Can
So,
can parties approach for 1 minute?
okay, thank you. You were employed with the Vermont State Police in October of 2021?
Correct.
Okay. And what was your rank at the time?
Detective Sergeant?
Okay. And was that your rank at the time of retirement?
Yes.
Okay. And what was your assignment with the Vermont State Police at that time?
I was the assistant commander of the crime scene search team for the Vermont State Police.
Okay. And can you just tell us what that sort of generally means?
Sure. The crime scene search team is a team of 20 members and 2 commanders. We respond to homicides, officer-involved shootings, and other questionable death investigations. And the team specializes in processing the crime scene, collecting evidence.
Okay. Approximately how many crime scenes and death investigations have you participated in?
Well over 150.
And in mid-October, October 15th or 16th of 2021, were you made aware of an investigation related to Emily Ferlazzo?
I was not notified until the morning of October 19th.
Okay. So prior to that, you were not involved in the case?
No.
Okay. And what information were you provided on October 19th?
I received a call from the Major Crimes Unit Supervisor. One of the lieutenants advised that there was a new case, requesting my presence at the St. Albans Barracks for a briefing later that morning.
Okay. And did you in fact attend that briefing?
I did.
And what further information did you learn?
Excuse me, at that point I learned that the state police was notified the prior day of a missing person, Emily Ferlazzo, that there were some suspicious circumstances surrounding that, that Mr. Ferlazzo, Emily's husband, had told a friend that he had killed her, and that the state police had seized a camper van as well as a Jeep that belonged to Mr. Ferlazzo.
Okay. And so what was your sort of plan or task for the day?
Initially, there was a lot of waiting around, learning new information as it was found. The search warrant was being worked on to be able to search the van and the Jeep. So I took it upon myself to sort of scour the internet, social media pages for both Emily and Joseph Ferlazzo, trying to find acquaintances that we might be able to interview, seeing if anyone had posted any comments or anything we could learn about Emily's potential whereabouts.
Okay. And at some point, did you take a break to go get food?
I had had lunch, but to be honest, I'd had enough coffee that morning, so I decided to go to the store, knowing it was going to be a late night. I wanted an energy drink and some snacks for the team once they got there. So I believe it was around 2 in the afternoon. I did leave the barracks and go to a local convenience store.
Okay. And what was that convenience store called?
Maple Fields?
Okay. And that was in St. Albans?
Yes.
All right. And who did you go there with?
One of the other team members that had arrived at the barracks, Brandon Gallant.
Okay. And who drove?
I did.
What did you drive? What vehicle did you drive?
I drove my state-issued cruiser, if you will.
Okay. And can you describe that vehicle?
Sure. It's an F-150 truck with an extra cab and an extended bed on it, so it's a rather large vehicle.
Okay. How many seats are in the vehicle?
Technically, seating for 6. It was a bench seat in the front and a bench seat in the back. But my back seat was full of equipment, and then in the front seat, I usually kept the center console folded down for like a drink holder, things like that. So most comfortably 2, impossibly 3.
Okay. And is there a secure area of this vehicle like many police cruisers?
No.
Okay. So the entire inside of it is accessible?
Open, correct.
Okay. Does it have any sort of Vermont State Police insignia on it?
No, completely unmarked.
What were you wearing that day?
I was wearing my crime scene uniform, which is a pair of cargo style, I'd say tan pants, a green polo shirt with the state police emblem, and it said CSST on it, but that was covered with a plain black fleece, so I didn't have any obvious markings
Okay.
of the state police on my person that day.
You weren't wearing a state trooper uniform that we've all
No,
seen?
I was not.
Okay. How far away is the Maple Fields from the St. Albans Barracks?
It's approximately a mile down the road.
Okay. So can you tell the jury what happened when you pulled into the Maple Fields?
Sure. Due to the size of the truck, it wasn't practical to park in sort of a normal parking spot, if you will. The back end of the vehicle would stick out several feet. So I often chose to park, not in a parking spot, along a parking lot edge or something like that. So as I pulled in to the entrance to the store, I had my eye on a spot where I wanted to park sort of parallel to the road. Well away from parking spots. I noticed a male was just sort of nonchalantly walking right where I wanted to park. So I was, I can't remember if I muttered it or if I just thought under my breath, like, oh my gosh, hurry up, that's where I want to park. So I sort of slowly, crawled behind the person until they diagonally cut across and went into the store.
Okay. And so once you entered the store, where did you immediately go?
Right to the back of the store where the coolers are located. That's where the energy drinks were.
Okay. And as you're walking towards the back of the store, did you notice anything?
I noticed that same male. I had sort of given him a nickname in my head of Hoodie because he was wearing his hood up. It was chilly that morning. And I noticed that same male that I had waited to move out of my way so I could park was also at the coolers. He had walked right to the back of the store as well.
Okay. And what was he doing?
He was getting a drink out of the cooler and sort of stepping back from the cooler at that time.
Did you recognize the male?
When he closed the door to the cooler and he turned around and we made eye contact, I was like, wait, I know this person. In that moment, I couldn't figure out where or why. My brain was still trying to catch up with me. But I knew I recognized him.
Okay. And did you ultimately determine how you recognized him?
Yeah, so he walked to the right and then turned to walk up to one of the aisles towards the front of the store, and he turned and looked at me again. And we locked eyes again, and at that point, I recognized that it was Joseph Ferlazzo.
Okay. And how did you recognize him? What have you seen?
So I had spent, like I said, a lot of that morning sort of scouring through social media. I had seen dozens of pictures of Mr. Ferlazzo as well as Emily. And then also our public information officer for the state police was at the barracks that morning. He was preparing a press release that he was getting ready to put out with photos, which included Mr. Ferlazzo. And he had asked me to proofread that for him just before I went to the store. So it was like another look at Mr. Ferlazzo's face right before I left.
Okay. And where did that mail go?
Up to the front of the store to the cash register area.
Okay. And so what was the next thing you did with that information?
I told Brandon that's Joseph Ferlazzo. He's heading out of the store. I'm going to follow him.
Okay. And are you aware that this interaction with Mr. Ferlazzo was recorded?
Yes.
Okay, and how was it recorded?
Through the Maple Field surveillance video system.
Okay, and have you reviewed those?
I have seen those videos, yes.
Judge, I have a stipulation for the court. States 120, stipulation number 5.
So I was told my voice was not quite loud enough last time, perhaps for some of you, so I'm going to read a little louder this time. Stipulation number 5, members of the jury, the state and defendant Joseph Ferlazzo have agreed that you may find certain facts. This is called a stipulation. A member of the Vermont State Police collected surveillance video from the Maple Fields gas station in St. Albans, Vermont, from October 19, 2021. That surveillance video was added to the case file and reviewed by Detective Sergeant Amy Nolan. The authenticity of the surveillance video is not being challenged. Chain of custody of the surveillance video is also not being challenged. As with any evidence in this trial, you must decide what weight you will give this stipulation. And that's Exhibit States 120, and no objection to that being admitted.
No objection.
Admitted without objection.
Do a quick technical change here. Judge, the state would next move to admit States 23, which is the first Maple Fields video.
No objection.
States 23 is admitted without objection. I don't think that was heard. Go back here. States 23 is admitted without objection.
Thank you, Judge. Sorry about that. At some point in the video, you appear to look at your phone. Can you just tell the jury what you're doing?
Yes, I feel like my body language is pretty clear at the moment that I recognize him, and I turn back around, I take my phone out, I say something to the trooper I was with, and I take my phone out because I'm looking for that press release to show the picture to Brandon and to sort of confirm my suspicions that it was Joseph Ferlazzo.
Okay. And is there another angle of this same sort of interaction within Maple Fields?
There is.
Judge, the state would move to admit States 24, second Maple Fields video.
No objection.
States 24 is admitted without objection.
So after seeing who you believe to be Mr. Ferlazzo in the maple fields, did you in fact follow him outside?
I did.
Okay, and did you approach him outside?
I followed behind him. He was walking along the front of the store.
Okay, and what did you do? What was your interaction?
I said, Joseph,
Okay.
and the male kept walking, no acknowledgement. So then I said something to the effect of, hey, state police, can you stop for a second? I just need to talk to you.
Okay, and did the male stop?
He did.
Okay. And what did you do? Once the individual stopped, did they stop and actually turn around to face you and interact with you?
He did turn around and then took a very long, almost exaggerated drink of his energy drink, just looking at me, sort of the proverbial deer in the headlight look. It seemed to me, based on my training and experience, it was almost as if he were trying to figure out, fight, flight, freeze, what do I do?
Okay. And what did you say to him?
I said, Joseph, it's you, right? Are you okay?
Okay. And what did he do in reply?
He took his drink down and his body language sort of deflated. And he said, no, I'm not okay.
Okay. And what do you mean? Can you describe what you mean by his body language deflated?
Sure. As he was looking at me taking that drink, he seemed, quite tense. Again, sort of deer in the headlights. Do I run? Do I freeze? Do I fight? And he just sort of relaxed, if you will. Like I visibly saw his shoulders drop and his head kind of dropped a little bit, and he just said, no, I'm not okay.
Okay. How far away from you was he when you first said state police?
Probably 10 feet, approximately.
All right. And what did you, after he said, no, I'm not okay, how did you respond to that?
I said, well, there's a lot of people looking for you and looking for Emily, and we're just trying to figure out where Emily is and what's going on. Her family's very worried about her.
Okay. And what was his response?
Let's go.
He said, let's go. Okay. And so what did you do?
I said, go where? And he said, wherever you're taking me. And I said, I'm not taking you anywhere. You're not under arrest. But if you want to come with me, I'll give you a ride to the barracks, and we can get a detective to talk to you.
Okay. And did he agree to that?
He did.
Okay. And did you bring him in your vehicle?
We started to walk back across the parking lot towards my truck, yes, and stopped about halfway across the parking lot.
Okay. And why did you stop halfway across?
There was a moment where I thought Mr. Ferlazzo might pass out. He seemed a little unsteady on his feet. I said, you're okay. I asked his permission. I said, if it's okay, I want to just put my hand on your shoulder. And I did. And I said, I got you. I said, you're okay. I'll get you to the barracks and you can talk to somebody.
Okay. Did he make any statements or respond to that in any
No.
particular way? Okay. And so did you bring him back to the barracks?
I did. The other thing that we did sort of in that halfway point was I asked him and explained before I could give him a ride, it was our sort of protocol that we had to pat somebody down for weapons before I could allow him in my cruiser with me, and also because I don't have a typical cruiser with what they call the cage in the back to separate the officer from a person that they've picked up for some reason. So he said that was fine. He indicated he had no weapon, so I patted him down real quick, and then I got into the driver's seat, and Brandon walked him across to the passenger seat.
Okay. Did Brandon also get in the car?
He did not.
Okay. Was that because there wasn't any room?
Yeah, I told him I would come back and pick him up.
Okay.
I didn't think we needed to sit three across the front seat.
Okay. So it was just you and Mr. Ferlazzo in the ride back to the barracks?
Correct.
And did you speak to him during that time about Emily?
Not about Emily. I asked him, like I said, it was cold that day. I asked him, are you cold? He said he was. I turned the heat up. I said, have you been out all night? Based on the interactions that I knew had occurred the night before, he said he had. I asked him if he, was thirsty, if he was hungry. He said he was. And so, again, I told him, I turned the heat up and I told him I would get him something to eat once we got back to the barracks.
Okay. How long were you in the truck with Mr. Ferlazzo?
Less than 5 minutes, probably.
Right. Did you see anything on the way to the barracks that sparked a conversation?
Yes, there was, so at one point in the video, as I start to walk towards the front of the store, I turned to Brandon and I told him to call dispatch to let them know what was happening. So that message had gotten relayed and there was a trooper coming to the store, lights and sirens.
Okay. And did Mr. Ferlazzo say anything related to that?
He didn't. I sort of chuckled and said, I think they're looking for us. I said, but we're good, right? And we continued on, and I placed a call to my lieutenant at that time.
And could Mr. Ferlazzo hear that conversation with your lieutenant?
Yes.
Okay. Did you make any other calls during that time?
I also, actually, let me back up. Before calling my lieutenant, I got on the radio to dispatch, and I clarified, I am in the truck with Mr. Ferlazzo. All units can stand down. I'm headed to the barracks.
Do you have a recollection of what time you arrived at the barracks?
I would say it was probably, if this interaction was around 2, as I remember, I would say probably 2:15.
Okay.
Approximately.
And when you arrived at the barracks, where did you park?
I drove around to the back side of the barracks, into the gated parking area of the barracks.
Okay. And did Joseph get out of the car?
I can't remember. I think I walked around to his side of the truck and opened the door for him, if I recall correctly.
Okay. And did you ultimately get him into the police barracks?
Yes, the station commander of the barracks was outside waiting for us, and together we walked inside the building, yes.
Okay. And did he still have the drink that he'd bought at Maple Fields?
At that point, I believe he did, yes.
But did you had said earlier you told him you would get him some food and drinks. Did you do that?
Eventually, yes. After a short period of waiting for an interview and a detective to be ready for Mr. Ferlazzo, as this was obviously not planned, I returned back to the store and got a sandwich and some chips.
Okay. At any point in your interactions with Mr. Ferlazzo, did you ask him any questions about Emily?
I did not.
Okay. And is the person that you identified in Maple Fields as Mr. Ferlazzo and brought back to the barracks, is he in the courtroom today?
He is.
Can you just describe to the jury what he's wearing?
Certainly. He's sitting at the defendant's table wearing tan pants, a light gray shirt, and a black tie.
Okay. The state would request that the record reflect that's Mr. Ferlazzo.
They're directed.
Is it your understanding that he was then interviewed by Detective Sergeant Boris?
Yes.
Okay. And were you told at some point after what he indicated had happened to Emily?
In stages, yes.
Okay. And so did you become involved in this case in a sort of different capacity at some point?
Certainly, what I was there for initially, and that was in the role of crime scene search team.
Okay. What was the first thing you did related to that role?
Based on Mr. Ferlazzo's statement, where there had been an altercation, my first assignment, if you will, was to photograph Mr. Ferlazzo to see if we could detect any marks, bruises, scratches, anything like that.
Okay. And the jury has seen the interview room and this process happening.
Okay.
When you first went into the interview room to do this, did Mr. Ferlazzo indicate remembering you or give any indication that he remembered you?
Yes.
And did he remember you by name?
I don't recall if he remembered me by name.
Okay. And so did you in fact take photographs of his condition?
I did. I also collected what we call buccal swabs to get a DNA sample from Mr. Ferlazzo.
Okay. And, Your Honor, the state would seek to admit states 25 through 36.
Okay.
Just renew my early objections.
Objections, as earlier noted, but they'll be admitted over objection. 25 through 36.
We're just going to go through the photographs, if you can just explain briefly what each one is.
Certainly. So this is what we would call an overview photograph of Mr. Ferlazzo. And because you can't really capture someone unless you're standing really far away, we take them in segments, so upper body, mid, and then lower body. Mr. Ferlazzo's hands, front and back. This is Mr. Ferlazzo's upper body. It was explained to him that we would like to take photographs without his clothes on, but not completely naked, again, looking for marks or bruises. Was also offered to him, if I recall, being a female, if he wasn't comfortable. I did have another trooper with me that could take those photographs. So this is the upper, I would say, torso of Mr. Ferlazzo. And face and upper chest, mid chest and abdomen, upper legs, the backside of his legs, and front of his lower legs. This is a side, sort of more close-up photograph of his left side of his head and face. Full body back, upper back, I should say.
And did you note any injuries or observe any injuries or marks on his body?
There was one mark, and I remember asking him if, that was an injury or perhaps a birthmark. It was really hard to tell. I believe it was on the left side of the back of his head, sort of right in his hairline. So it was hard to detect. Other than that, I did not see any marks on his body.
Or bruises?
No.
Okay. And you did already state that you collected the DNA swabs.
Yes.
Do you recall, were those swabs from the cheek titled Item 1A?
Yes,
Or 1? And were they brought to the lab for testing?
they were.
Okay. Did you also supervise the collection of evidence from the van in question?
I did.
And have you reviewed all of the photographs taken of the van?
I have.
Right. Judge, the state first has a stipulation. Number 6 states 121.
Yep. No objection, Ms. Johnson.
I'm here now. No objection. Thank you.
Stipulation number 6, members of the jury, the state and defendant, Joseph Ferlazzo, have agreed that you may find certain facts. This is called a stipulation. Members of the crime scene search team, in parentheses, CSST, end of parentheses, collected, tagged, photographed, and processed pieces of evidence during the search of the camper van pursuant to a valid search warrant. CSST supervisors Amy Nolan and Aaron McNeil oversaw the collection, tagging, photographing, and processing of all evidence collected from the camper van. These items were ultimately stored at the Vermont State Police Barracks in Williston. These items were the same condition upon arrival at the barracks as they were when collected from the camper van during the searches on October 19th, 2021 and October 20th, 2021. Chain of custody is not being challenged as it relates to these items. As with any evidence, in this trial, you must decide what weight you will give this stipulation. And that's State's Exhibit 121, admitted without objection.
Thank you, Judge. And the state would first move to admit states 37, 38, and 39.
No objection.
Exhibits 37 through 39 are admitted without objection.
Detective Sergeant Nolan, can you tell the jury what this photo is?
Certainly, this is a view of the right side, or if you're looking at the van from the front, the left side of the van that Mr. Ferlazzo and Emily were traveling in.
Okay. So these double doors on the right side here is the entrance,
Correct.
and this one?
This is the driver's side of the vehicle.
And this,
The rear.
okay. Judge, the state would next move for states 40 through 75.
Okay, do you want to first give us 37 through 39 of you?
Yes.
I'll take them first. Any objection to 40 through 78?
No objection, thank you.
Exhibits 40 through 78 are admitted without objection.
So we're gonna, the next group of photographs is from the inside of the van at the time of the search. What was the authority to search the van at the time?
We had a search warrant.
Okay. So I'm gonna show you first states 40. Can you tell the jury what this is showing?
Sure, this is a photo of the entrance and the steps up into the van. What you're seeing is, I believe, like a bug net or mosquito net over the door once the double door was opened. It's hard to see up there, but you're looking to where the driver's seat would be, and there was a curtain up over the driver's door for privacy over the driver's window.
Okay. Can you describe for the jury what this photo is of?
This is the bathroom of the van with several black household garbage bags on the floor of the shower.
States 42.
Another view of the bathroom from a little further away. Another photo of the bags in the bathroom. Here, the bags are numbered with placards that we use to identify our evidence items. So you're seeing 1 through 7. Here you're seeing items 1 through 8 laid out on butcher paper. The bags were taken out one at a time and placed onto butcher paper as we removed them and numbered them.
Okay. And is this how you refer to the bags moving forward, is by these numbers?
Correct.
Okay. States 46?
This is a 12-gauge shotgun that was located at the foot of the bed in the camper.
States 47?
This is looking at the head of the bed.
And so are these pillows?
Yes, these are bed pillows, the sheets, a blanket, a comforter perhaps, and then there was also a black duffel bag on the bed.
Okay.
This is a Glock firearm that was found underneath the pillows of the, I would say, front side of the bed. Again, standing at the foot of the bed, looking at it would be the left side of the bed.
Okay.
A more close-up image showing the Glock firearm.
Okay. And it's the 11 next door, next to it mean that it was labeled item 11?
Correct, evidence item number 11.
Okay. And was there a magazine in this firearm?
There was.
And I guess first, can you describe to the jury what a magazine is?
Sure, a magazine is what holds the rounds of ammunition in a semi-automatic pistol like this. So the magazine sits up into the grip of the firearm, and that's, again, where the cartridges are held.
Okay. Do you know what the magazine capacity was?
It was a 15-round magazine, so it would hold 15 cartridges, excuse me.
Okay. And were you able to tell how many rounds were in the magazine?
There were 9 in the magazine.
Right. And was there a round in the chamber?
There was.
Okay. And so was the round, the 15-round magazine that was in the bullets, was in the firearm, was that labeled as 11A?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to show you what has been marked as 79 and 79, state 79 and 79A. Are you familiar with what each of these is?
Yes.
Okay. Can you just describe to the jury what each one is?
Yes. State 79, which is marked in our evidence system as number 48, is the Glock firearm shown in the pictures that was found under the pillows of the bed. And State 79A, which is marked item number 53 in our evidence system, is the magazine and the cartridges that were included in the magazine and the one in the chamber.
Okay. Are you able to open
I can,
79?
certainly.
Okay. Yeah, if you can just show it to them. And were both of these items, the firearm and the magazine, the bullets, were those brought to the Vermont Forensic Lab for testing?
They were.
Looking at the bullets that were in the magazine, are you able to tell whether there's a head stamp on them?
Yes.
And can you tell the jury what that means and what they say?
Certainly. So the head stamp on the ammunition tells us the manufacturer and the gauge. So these are SIG 9mm Luger. So Luger is a style of bullet or a type of ammunition, and the 9mm is the caliber of the ammunition, and the manufacturer is SIG.
How many firearms total were located in the camper?
There were 6 total.
Okay. How many pistols or handguns?
2 handguns.
Okay. And this being one of them.
Correct.
What was the second one?
Second one was a 9mm Taurus pistol.
Show you what's been marked as states 50. Can you tell us what that is?
Yes, that is a 9mm Taurus pistol that was found in a kitchen drawer.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Judge. The state would move to admit 79 and 79A.
Any objection?
No objection.
They're admitted without
Yeah.
objection.
Where should I put them, Your Honor?
Looking at states 50A, can you tell us what this is?
Yes, so these are the 2 kitchen drawers opened, and the drawer on the right you can see in the in the front lower corner of the photo there is the Taurus pistol in the leather holster.
Okay.
Another view of that sort of more close up.
So this is where that second handgun was located when you searched the van?
Correct.
And that holster was on it?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell the jury what this is?
Sure, this is I would say a storage cubby unit that had been built into the van above the head of the bed.
Okay. And did you search these baskets?
We did.
And can you tell the jury what is in this picture?
Certainly. In one of the baskets contained miscellaneous ammunition and also a silencer or suppressor.
And was the silencer suppressor labeled as item 22?
I would need to refer to my report or an evidence list to be sure, but to the best of my recollection, yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as 52A. And would move to admit 52A, Judge, based on no objections.
Oh, okay. Any objection?
Objection.
52A is admitted without objection.
Can you tell the jury what this is?
Okay, so it was marked 22. This is the silencer or suppressor seen in the photograph that was in that basket with the ammunition.
Okay. And did you know, was the silencer sent to the lab for testing?
It was.
Okay. And did you notice anything of interest related to the silencer?
The items as they were collected were brought onto the command post where we have better lighting and a controlled environment to take better photographs. During the time when this was being examined and photographed and documented on the truck, there were red fibers, or at least a red fiber, in the end of the silencer that were appreciated by members.
Okay. And were you able to collect that?
No, during the process of trying to collect it, we believe that it fell down into the barrel of the silencer.
Okay. So did you take a swab from the silencer?
We did take a swab of the silencer.
Okay. And was that labeled 22A?
Yes,
And did that go to the Vermont Forensic Lab for testing?
yes.
I'm going to show you States 53. I'll take,
Okay. Thank you.
can you tell the jury what's in this photo?
This is just in front of, so the bed made up the entire back of the camper, the rear of the camper. So just in front of that, looking down the camper on the left-hand side was like a couch area, if you will, two small chair type things. There was a space in between, so it's more of a chair than a couch, I guess, a seating area.
In States 54?
This is a photo from the kitchen area, again, looking to the back of the van, showing the bed.
States 55?
This is, as each layer of bedding was removed from the bed, further photographs were taken. So this is down to the mattress with like a mattress topper on it.
Okay.
This is the mattress outside what you see in the previous photo, the underside of what you could see in the previous photo.
Okay.
This is the bed, the shelf that the mattress laid on after the mattress was removed.
Could you just make sure to note the number you're talking
Yes.
about when you talk about this?
Thank you. So I'm looking at States 57.
States 57 shows the base where the mattress laid on top of.
Okay. And there's a close-up in the next photo, but was there something of interest that,
There is a red-brown stain on the fourth panel of wood up.
okay. States 58.
Yeah, so this is a red-brown stain on the panel where the mattress had been laying on the bed.
Okay. What was the significance of taking the photos of the mattress and then of the wood underneath?
So when we brought the mattress outside of the van and took photographs of both sides, it was pretty clear that a bleeding event happened on what ended up being the underside of the mattress, the way we found it, right? On the left-hand side, so the side closest to the inside of the camper. There was a significant blood stain there. While that stain was still wet, the mattress was then flipped, so the stain is more on the right side or the back side, towards the back of the camper.
Okay. And did you collect any swabs from the mattress?
We took a large cutting from the blood stain.
Okay, and did that get labeled as 17A, item 17A?
Yes,
And did that get sent to the lab for testing?
it did.
I'm looking at States 59. Can you tell us what this is a picture of?
So this is the floor area, and you see the driver's seat of the van and the contents behind the seat. There is a faded red toolbox of sorts that had a red-brown stain on it, as well as, very hard to see in this photograph, but you can see the handle of a saw that was also collected. There's the saw.
State 60, is that the saw that was in the previous photo?
Yes.
And State 61?
State 61 is a close-up view of the end of the saw with a red-brown stain on the end.
Okay. And was DNA swab collected from the blade, the reddish-brown stain on the?
It was.
And was that identified as 32A?
Yes. Yes,
And was that also sent to the lab?
it was.
Tell us what this is a photograph of?
This is a photo of a garbage can on top of a, I'm not sure if it was a shelf or a refrigerator.
That's State 62. And State 63?
Inside the garbage can is this bottle, which when it was removed is a bottle of bleach.
State 64.
The bleach bottle.
And State 65?
This is the floor of the shower after the 8 bags were removed from the shower. There are red-brown stains on the floor of the shower.
Okay, and was a swab collected from the tub drain?
It was.
Was that labeled as item 36?
No, I believe those are 33.
The swab was also 33?
I believe so. If I could, I'd need to refer to my report to be sure. I believe 36 was a different swab of red-brown stains.
Okay. I'm gonna, just to be sure.
Yes, thank you.
You wrote several reports in this case. Would this be the van and processing report?
Yes, please.
So I'm gonna show you what's been marked as State 107.
Thank you.
Just refresh your recollection.
Thank you so much. So 33, as depicted by the placard, 33 was 2 swabs of the shower floor that are seen there.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes.
I'm gonna just go back to the bleach bottle for 1 minute. When this picture was taken of the Hannaford bleach bottle, was there a known significance at the time?
That the van, we believe that the van had been cleaned.
Okay. All right. State 66, can you tell us what this is?
This is a not very clear photograph of the contents in what would be the passenger side floor area. There's various items there, but the item of significance to us was the Swiffer wet jet mop.
Okay. And State 67?
Yes, this is a photo once the mop was removed out of that area.
State 68?
60 shows the bottom side of the Swiffer pad that is dirty with some red-brown stains as well.
And State 69?
This would be the side that sticks to the Velcro, so the upper side, but you can see that the red-brown stains have soaked through to the other side of the cloth.
And State 70?
State 70 is a bag that was also located in that area, shown a few photographs ago, where the mop was. This is a garbage bag that contained a pair of gloves.
Okay. So this bag was not located in the shower, is that?
Correct. This was not in the shower.
In State 71?
Those are the gloves that were inside of that bag.
State 72?
This is the center console area of the van, and we're just sort of taking that photograph to show the area, and the next photograph gives you what we're actually taking a photo of.
State 73?
This ring was recognized by me as being Emily's engagement/wedding ring.
Okay. And how did you recognize that?
From my time earlier in the day going through social media posts, there's a photograph of Emily and Joseph on what appears to be their wedding day, and the ring is depicted in that photograph.
So state 74, is that just a closer?
That's a closer view of the ring, yes.
And state 75?
This is another photograph because on closer examination of the ring, there were red-brown stains on the ring.
Okay. And so state 76, is this the photograph that you located on Facebook?
That's one of the photographs where I recognize the ring, yes.
Okay, and so this is a photograph of Mr. Ferlazzo and Emily Ferlazzo?
Yes,
And she appears to be wearing that ring. Is that the importance?
yes.
Did you also go to the Bear Run condo in question?
I did. It was a few days later, but yes.
Oh, I think I already admitted them, so I'm gonna go. All right. State 77, can you tell us what this is?
So this is a photograph of the parking area. It is depicting the front of my truck, my cruiser at the time, as the parking lot was rather narrow, but a parking area that goes for the condos.
And state 78.
Another view of the condo.
And what was the significance of these photographs?
This was the condo that Mr. Ferlazzo's sister had rented for the weekend when Joseph and Emily came to visit them.
And were you also present for the autopsy of Emily Ferlazzo?
I was.
Okay. And where did that occur?
At the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner here in Burlington.
And do you recall when that occurred?
That occurred on the 20th of October, 2021.
Your Honor, if I may approach with states 122, which is the stipulation number 7.
Any objection to stipulation of number 7? And 122 would be the state exhibit number. Members of the jury, the state and defendant, Joseph Ferlazzo, have agreed that you may find certain facts. This is called a stipulation. 8 black garbage bags were collected on October 9, 2021 by Vermont State Police Detective Sergeant Damie Nolan during a search of the camper pursuant to a valid search warrant. The 8 black garbage bags were transported to the office of the Chief Medical Examiner by Vermont State Police Detective Ben Katz. These bags were x-rayed by Dr. Shapiro at the office of the Chief Medical Examiner on October 20th, 2021. Bags number 1 and number 2 did not contain human remains and were examined by Detective Sergeant Damie Nolan of the Vermont State Police. Bags number 1 and number 2 were in the same condition at the time of their inspection as they were when collected from the camper on October 19, 2021. Bag number 1 was logged by the Vermont State Police as CSST Van 1/CSST OCME, Office of Chief Medical Examiner 1. Bag number 2 was logged by the Vermont State Police as CSST Van 2/CSST OCME 2. Bags number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, and number 8 contained human remains, and the contents were examined by Dr. Stephen Shapiro. Bags number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, and number 8 were in the same condition at the time of their inspection as they were when collected from the camper during the search on October 19, 2021. Bag number 3 was logged by the Vermont State Police as CSST Van 3 slash CSST OCME 3. Bag number 4 was logged by the Vermont State Police as CSST Van 4 slash CSST OCME 4. Period. Bag number 5 was logged by the Vermont State Police as CSST Van 5 slash CSST OCME 5. Bag number 6 was logged by the Vermont State Police as CSST Van 6 slash CSST OCME 6. Bags number 7 was logged by the Vermont State Police as CSST Van 7 slash CSST OCME 7. Bag number 8 was logged by the Vermont State Police as CSST Van 8 slash CSST OCME 8. Chain of custody of these items is not being challenged. As with any evidence in this trial, you must decide what weight you will give this stipulation. And 122 is the exhibit number.
Thank you, Judge. And the state would move to admit photographs 81 through 91.
Any objection? 81 through 91 are admitted without objection.
Okay, so you said that the autopsy of Ms. Ferlazzo occurred on October 20th of 2021.
That's correct.
What was the first thing that you did in the autopsy?
All of the bags were placed into a transport bag. And the first thing that was done was that bag was documented and then opened, and then each bag was x-rayed.
Okay. What did you discover in the first bag?
In the first bag was a red throw pillow.
And for the record, it's been marked as states 81.
Yes, the pillow, as you can clearly see, appeared to have 2 bullet defects in it.
And was this throw pillow identified? And what were the sort of approximate location of these stab wounds?
Mostly upper chest, one particularly which would have probably entered her heart.
And any on the backside of her torso?
I believe there were a few on the back as well.
And so did learning of this additional information during the autopsy lead you to search for anything additional in the van?
Yes, so because I was at the autopsy, my partner, Aaron McNeil, had shown up in the later evening on the 19th. So on the 20th, because I was going to the autopsy, he was sort of overseeing we thought we were wrapping up processing, but learning this information during autopsy, the focus then became collecting all knives found in the van, excuse me.
Okay, and so did you have Aaron McNeil go into the van and collect those knives?
He was still working in the van that following day, so we just sort of said, okay, we're now need to focus on any knives found.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
You ready?
Good afternoon. Just a few follow-up questions. And for clarification, you attended the autopsy as an observer, correct?
As an evidence collector.
Okay. But you didn't really have any part of conducting the actual examination, correct?
Correct.
And just a few questions back to the Maple Fields encounter. The afternoon excuse me, of October 19th, 2021. You already testified that when you were walking with Mr. Ferlazzo to your vehicle, you had observed him seeming as if he might pass out, and you asked to put your hand on him.
Correct.
Do you recall testifying in a deposition on November 11th, 2022? No, sorry, November 29th, 2022.
I recall testifying in a depo, yes.
Okay. And in the deposition, you also described him at that particular point as he looked woozy. Do you recall that?
That would be accurate.
Okay. And you also described him as wobbling as he was walking. Do you recall that?
Yeah, that would be accurate as well.
Okay. And also in the deposition, you described him as looking pale and pasty. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. As you were walking with Mr. Ferlazzo to your truck, did you ever tell him he was free to leave?
No.
Okay. But he was essentially in custody, correct?
No, not at that point.
So if Mr. Ferlazzo had tried to walk away at that point, though, you probably wouldn't have allowed it, correct?
I would not have allowed it.
Okay. I'm just briefly, when you arrived at the St. Albans Vermont State Police Department, Vermont State Police Barracks, there was not an interview room available at that time, correct?
Correct.
And Mr. Ferlazzo had to stand, everyone was standing and waiting in the hallway until the interview room cleared out, correct?
There were 3 of us with Mr. Ferlazzo at that time in a hallway, correct.
Okay. And you had stated in your report, as well as your deposition, that you offered Mr. Ferlazzo a chair as well as some water because, as you stated, he appeared physically exhausted and barely able to stand. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was leaning against the wall.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. George?
No redirect, Judge.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
May we approach, Judge?
Come on up. Tomorrow so we're going to break for today. Tomorrow's a shorter day, but I'm going to ask you to get here a little early. I'm going to ask you to get here at 8:15. I'm hoping to start at 8:30. We're going to go until about 12:30 and then break for the day because we have some things in court I have to do independent of this case. And then we'll start again and might get through the evidence on Wednesday. That's at least the hope. We'll see how things go, but so far we're definitely ahead of schedule. All right? So we're going to release you for today. Same admonition, please, please, please don't talk to anybody about this case. Don't try and find out any information about it or read any news sources of any kind or social media posts. And with that, have a good night, and we'll see you at 8:30 tomorrow morning.
All rise.
Any other issues anyone wants to discuss outside the presence of the jury before we break for the day?
No, Judge. Thank you so much.
Tomorrow, why don't you all get here at 8:15 just to make sure there are no additional issues to take up before your first one.
And we'll start at 8:30? Okay.